Are Celestial Dragon Guard actually useful in patch 8.0? So this is the other end of the YouTube criticism, that this is a white elephant, no real Dragon Lord would ever recruit it because it's a tier 4 unit and campaigns are won with tier 0 and 1 and at most tier 2 units. Yeah, well, that's largely true in a sense. But these become monsters in campaign, and in so doing, slay a lot of actual monsters in the process. It's not like they started out bad either. Recruited for 1050 gold and 263 upkeep, as in this isn't nearly as much as many top tier elite units. You get 100 entities on ultra skill, 8,400 health between them, for 84 per, in a Chaos Warrior at 100 health per world. Armor is 95, which isn't bad at all, with shields that block 35% of small arms fire from the front, nowhere near as much as Crane Gunners did. Leadership of 72 is fairly up there, speed 28 and charge speed 35 is outright slow by human standards. Melee attack 34 is paired with attack interval 4.4 seconds, no splash damage. That means it's a little better than Empire Swordsman at attacking Empire Swordsmen and other infantry. Melee defense begins at 43, which is a pretty stout figure. Weapon strength begins at 36, split base 11, and armor piercing 25. Some units have this kind of armor piercing, but significantly less base damage to lower the overall damage level, so this unit does benefit from base damage boosting too. There is an extremely healthy bonus versus large of 20, so that's instantly melee attack 54 against Empire Knights. Charge bonus is 10 and max is 125. This unit has expert charge defense and charge reflection, meaning it'll stop cold the charge bonus of cavalry and infantry and will do double damage during the charge bonus period. This really is a get off my courtyard unit. Battle Harmony Yang means a Yin unit within 55 meters will trigger leadership +4, melee attack and melee defense +4 at minimum, and a max of +8 to all three when amplified by a Dragon Lord. In addition, Formation Attack may restrain offense to some small degree, but I'm told it gives an invisible passive +5 melee defense on an already strong defensive unit. Don't worry, it gets better. This is multiplayer scaling, not accounting for magic lores, and so on. But before getting to that, let's go over the Regiment of Renown, since unlike Jade Warriors, there is one. The Dune Dragons are recruited for 1350 gold and 338 upkeep, reduced with text, and so on. Our first eye-popping difference is spell resistance plus 35%. What, did Khorne bless this unit? Well, no, not really. Leadership 82 is plus 10 from being a rank 9 unit. Melee attack 43 is 9 better on the same basis. Melee defense 53 is plus 10 on the same basis, but that's something for the regulars to aspire to. The stats are otherwise identical, but the unit has immunity to psychology full-time, so no fear or terror routing, and that's to say, the regular did not get this. Also, there's an encourage aura to bolster the leadership of nearby units in the absence of heroes and lords in the vicinity. It's a nice bit of help for the regular troops. More importantly, you can get the Regiment of Renown at any participating store near you. Distance from your capital is not an issue. Buy today! In the Grand Cathay Lord Redline skills, 3 pips in Unyielding, the skill you would already be using for maximizing other melee infantry, grants melee attack +6 and melee defense +6 without any harmony buffs. That is, melee attack 40, 60 versus cavalry, melee defense 49, with a minimum of +4 to both sides of that ledger with the presence of a single Onyx Chroman unit. I'm explaining this so you have perspective, because if you were making Tiger Warriors better, you're making these better too. Rank 7 and up guard benefit from Blades of the Bastion for leadership +6, melee defense +5, and spell resistance +10%. This is an asset to your staying power, and it's more likely these will get to rank 7 than some. In the Grand Cathay Tech tree, Mastery of Yang immediately provides leadership +4 for Yang units and melee attack +4 for melee infantry, a turn 3 obtainable tech. Let's not omit that Yang Reflection gives +5% campaign movement range and +10% weapon strength when attacking. That's relevant. After some recruit rank and recruitment cost help, Inner Speed gives 10% fatigue build-up reduction and +20% flat speed mid-battle, and hey, it helps. This unit skips over Jade's stance. Instead, Celestial Endurance training is key. What's provided at rank 7 and up is immunity to flanking, a hedge against all things Slanesh, and so forth. What applies to even the humblest guardsman is melee attack plus 4, which is exclusive to the melee version, and armor plus 20, which isn't, but armor 115 is already fantastic, and anything further is nice but diminishing returns. So we will happily take drill training, adding plus 10 armor more, plus 6 leadership more, melee defense plus 4 more, and the real kicker, armor piercing melee damage plus 4 for the guard specifically. That means armor piercing 25 becomes 29. This not only makes any weapon strength increases, like the Lore of Yang passive, that much better, but improves the base to AP ratio and makes bonus versus large 20 even better at punching through armor. The unit-specific capstone is Jade Veteran Facility, providing upkeep minus 10%, plus 2 recruit rank, Celeste plus 3 just from these techs, and melee attack plus 4 for being a Yang unit. So how do we use Celestial Dragon Guard to make single-entity monsters cry so much they spawn Oceanids? That's not just a witticism. Against the likes of a sea elemental, it takes a ridiculous melee attack and bonus versus large to efficiently harm the foe. Generalizing General asks, if Dragon Guard are so powerful, can't I just form a front line with them and charge them right at the enemy? Of course you can, but their strengths are magnified with the use of Harmony, and Expert Charge Defense is an excellent tool for turning thunderous charges into wet noodles. Also, they're still slow. Charging them exposes them to enemy flanking and counter charges when they aren't braced. Min-Maxing Magistrate asks, can't I use them as my front line? Of course you can, but these aren't Crane Gunner shields. If the enemy's using armor-piercing missiles, Dragon Guard will hold up better than most, but each entity that falls is whittling away your balance of power. It's better to minimize how much they're shot at until you're prepared to deal with it. Dragon Guard start very defensive, able to bog infantry down at some midpoint between a while and infinity. The tech tree alone, without relying on Harmony, makes them much better on offense. The mark of a truly strong melee unit is one which enjoys a lot of benefit from magical support, but which is not reliant upon it. The same applies for Harmony. That said, let's be blunt, right out of the Bastion Gate, this is a better anti-large unit than Storm Vermin with Halberds by some margin. Yes, that's a 160 entity unit, but still, Eshin Triads are not, and Dragon Guard are still better at connecting blows purely from base melee attack without Harmony, being significantly if not dramatically better. And, unlike both of those units, the entry-level Redline skill applies to all your normal infantry. It's as if Storm Vermin and Triads benefit from Clan Rat Redline skills. They don't. Cathay has it good for this part. So in short, the floor is high, the ceiling is even higher. When the chips are down, you badly want weapon strength boosts, mainly because melee attack probably isn't their problem, except against the most ferocious foes, and they'll trade at least even against infantry, so turning those fights around, keeping in mind the armor-piercing tilt, may require some assistance. That's what Heaven's Flash, Blossom Wind, and so on are for. The real question you've been keeping on your lips is simple but profound. Is this unit worth a Tier 4 settlement building and the long wait to get access to that building, let alone the recruit time? If you're going to get 3 each for far-flung armies across the map. Yes, it is. If all you want is one of them, get the RR and don't cry about, oh no, my emergency army. Forget that. Let's remind, the shields are only 35% missile block. Except for being even more armored, there are not better missile tanks than Jade Warriors. They are, however, true heroes at closing off the flanks against hostile enemy cavalry, chariots, and melee war machines. They are not speedy, but are one of your best anti-landed dragon units in the roster. If they can make contact, they will solve every problem you face. They're just much better at attacking the really big problems in proportion. But we need not question their ability to block and target infantry. Infantry generally won't be so fast as to pretend to be cavalry, so it's less of a threat to your squishy backline. Thus, even if it's just having 1 or 2 to stiffen the spines of Jade Warriors and shift to any spot needing an iron wall, yes, they're good. But more to the point, 263 upkeep before techs and so on knock it down is cheap compared to top-tier similar units that don't necessarily even have shields. Yes, those units have great stuff for them, but Blackguard of Naggarond are 325 upkeep default, and I think that's a fair point of comparison. On the other side, Jade Warrior Halberds are 162 upkeep, which looks a lot cheaper until you look at the Blackguard comparison, then it's dirt cheap compared. Is expert charge defense and shield and the generally higher stats, and armor and so on, worth the 101 gold upkeep difference? Blackguard are priced at basically double the value of the Halberds. Dragon Guard are not. So, in the patch 8.0 era, Dragon Guard are surprisingly cost efficient, in relative terms. I address this because the YouTube criticism is that your campaigns are already done by the time you can get them, and you can't justify the cost. Yeah, well, legendary tryhards are one thing. Aside from hard-baked things, like the speed and being a melee unit at all, this is an amazing unit for a high but not top-tier cost. I can absolutely justify the cost if there's something/someone worth protecting with that level of ferocity. In other words, their counterattack ability is so high, never look at them purely in terms of their tar-pitting ability, high as that might be. Look in terms of how the Dragon Guard will eat the enemy's face. Lepers are the meme, but Dragon Guard do it more consistently. They are spoilers. They rain on the enemy's dino parade. They are strong. And if you're playing Cathay and can't afford a few in the right places, there's something else wrong. Just keep in mind, they really can be wasted if you try to use them as your front line. So, balance those considerations. Please like, subscribe, and comment to help me level up this channel. Take care, and have fun being the chaperone for Cathay spellcasters. Unwanted suitors can take a hike.